Bugünkü mövzumuz elektronla e-logistics və belə cross-border e-commerce, yəni beynəlxalq elektron kommersiya. Bugünkü təqdimatımız bu mövzuda olacaq. Həmişə olduğu kimi bugünkü də təlimin aparıcısı, belə deyək, təqdimat eləyən ekspert Muhammed Esfih. Təlimimiz ITC, International Trade Center və AzExportla bir yerdə təşkil olunub. Belə, yəni həmişə olduğu kimi təlimimiz ingilis dilindədir. Suallarınız olsa chatda yaza bilərsiniz, Azərbaycan dilində, ingilis dilində və prezentasiyanın sonunda suallarınızı verə bilərsiniz. Yenə də deyirəm, ingilis dilində sual verməkdə çətinlik çəkirsinizsə kömək edərəm tərcümə ilə. Belə, qısa olaraq bu qədər. Söz veririk Muhammed Bey'e, qoy prezentasiyasına başlasın. Muhammed, the floor is yours.
Thank you Eldar Bey, thank you everyone, and many of you to be again here in these webinars. Like Eldar said, today it's about logistics, or we can say e-logistics for e-commerce, especially for you as an exporter. So exporting from Azerbaijan towards other countries and especially towards the Europe, because it's probably one of the most difficult markets to reach, the European Union. And again, as usual, a webinar is a bit of a short interaction, so I'm going to again introduce some concepts that you already know, and I will just highlight the small things that we're going to need and use for this particular e-commerce cross-border logistics. But generally, it's general knowledge about logistics. So bear with me if this is already known to you, and we can focus especially on the question answers side on whatever needs to be detailed for the e-commerce part. So this webinar or this presentation is going to be just introducing you to the strategy or the mentality that you need to develop if you want to be successful with logistics for e-commerce, especially cross-border, and especially for B2C, because B2C is really difficult to get it right. It's really difficult to get the cost control done so that you can still make profit after you ship out of Azerbaijan, you ship into the country of the user with the last mile, with the taxes and so on. So that's why it's difficult with B2C cross-border, is that a lot of the margin is eaten up very quickly. So you need to be more effective, more ready, more prepared, and you need to optimize every process. So I will share with you this strategic knowledge, or this strategic way that I do by myself from a practice. I mean, when I want to sell myself products cross-border. So let's jump into the agenda. We will cover the same usual points with a good practice at the end. So our first point that we will cover together is the basic knowledge that if you don't have it, you need to go and dig about it later on. But you need to understand these 3 points of international logistics basics, which are multimodal logistics, the different modes of shipping, and then the multi-level party logistics. These are the players, the logistic providers. They have different types. And then the Incoterms. So if you have not heard about Incoterms yet, I really invite you to take just 10 minutes of quality time and get it into your head, especially the first 2 Incoterms and the last 2 Incoterms, because this kind of drives the legal aspect of a deal when it comes to cross-border shipping. And then the second point, we're going to look at the e-commerce specific logistics services. So I will introduce to you from my experience the spectrum, the whole panoply, the whole range of shipping services, their costs and how long they take, so that you can quickly identify and know each one of them, how you can use it. We will look at the fulfillment types, fulfilled by the merchant, by you, or fulfilled by a fulfillment center like Amazon. And then we will quickly highlight the returns and their impact on your business. The third part, which is often not done, especially when we are an SME and we're not in the food industry, it's about packaging and labeling. So I will again introduce you to the minimum requirements that you need to set up, that you need to understand when it comes to packaging and labeling. So it goes from the product packaging, the SKU, if you haven't heard of it, we will do it together, and the barcodes and the labeling. And finally, the most headache part of logistics is the one that concerns the taxes. And we had already seen together, for those of you who were at the webinar about company formation, we already saw the different taxes that we need to deal with, especially the VAT. So I will come back again about the VAT, but also the duties at import, and then the whole rules that you need to understand so that you can have a knowledge of the complete financial transaction from the very beginning when you cash in the payments to the very last mile when the customer receives it and is happy and everything is fine with taxes paid. So this is the idea. And then the fifth point, as usual, it's the good practices, the simple rules that I invite you to follow to maintain a healthy logistic habit. So let's look at the international logistics basics that I think you should really master. And it's not complicated. It's really easy. You just need to remember the very basics of it, the very definition of the main points. So the first thing is that, as you know, we have different ways of moving products, goods around the world. And that's what we call multimodal. When a shopping partner or shipping provider will tell you we do multimodal, that means that they probably can ship by sea, by air, by rail, by road, or a combinations of them. So this is what it means. It's very simple. And basically, the general rule of thumb is that the cheapest way to ship around the world is by sea, so cargo. So this is not really a good picture. This is like a luxury yacht. So cargo freight is an ugly giant boat with a lot of containers. You know it very well. But there's also the second cheapest transport mode. And I think it's interesting also for Azerbaijan, if you can plug into it. There is that project from China, which Alibaba is pushing, which is the Silk Road, the logistics Silk Road by train. So it goes from the very east of Russia, going through Central Asia until Poland, until Germany and Poland, by rail. So it takes 2 weeks by rail from the Pacific Ocean on the east side to the Atlantic Ocean on the left side. So rail is also quite competitive if you can plug into it. And then the most used one, and actually it's always used because the last mile, when you want to deliver to a client, even if it's a B2B or B2C, at one point, the last mile is going to be done by truck. So this is by road, the third option. And the most expensive, but it could also become interesting, and I will show you in the next slides, is to ship by air. So it's air freight, either with passenger planes, they also take cargo, or specific cargo planes. So these are the different modes of shipping, and we can combine a few of them. So to reduce the time or reduce the cost, or both, reduce cost and delivery time. Now you have to be smart about this, and also your shipping partner will tell you the quick wins, the good deals, but just be open to maybe sometimes mix up 2 or 3 different modes. And then we have the multi-levels party and party logistics providers. And probably you heard this: 1PL, 2PL, 3PL, 4PL, and recently we have even 5PL. I don't know if it will go to 6PL and 7PL, but for now, this is what is available in the industry. And I will try to explain to you very quickly what these, how you call it, alphabets or acronyms mean. 1PL is the first party logistics provider. So that means it's usually you. If you produce eggs, which is here, let's say you produce eggs and you ship them to your client, your B2B client, who is a grocery store, then you are your own logistic provider. That is called first party, 1PL. Then you have 2PL. It's the usual actually way of doing business without realizing. But if I am producing eggs in my farm and I hire EMS or Azeripost or another truck company to deliver, then that truck company, that shipping company, is the 2PL, because they offer their vehicles, they offer their ships, they offer their plane or whatever they have as a transport vehicle. They offer it to us, so they are 2PL. And then 3PL, the main difference of 3PL here is that you can see they can offer now warehousing and they can offer packaging. This is called value-added services. That means that not only they will come to my door or I bring to them a pallet, but also they can store it in their warehouse because they're at the border for shipping, or they are at the airport. And then they can put a flyer, they can repackage it, they can put plastic bags, they can put my client invoices and so on. They can do some added value services. So when they do that, we call them 3PL, third-party logistics services, that offer some more added values. 4PL, it's a bit of a strange one, but it's basically whatever the 3PL is doing, plus they're doing the paperwork, the customs, the brokerage. They help with some coordination. So they offer how do you call it, an additional level of service to you, an advisory. And then the recent one, which is called 5PL, is that the main difference is, you see here, they can actually also take care of the logistics from your supply side. So not only for shipping to your clients, but getting the products you need, the different pieces, the different items that you need from multiple providers. They can actually plug their system to your sales machine, to your ERP, Enterprise Resources Planning if you have one, or to your stock management system. And then they can tell you, wait, you need now to order those cartons to hold the eggs because you're below 100 units. So we will order for you. We will get it from Russia, import it, and we will have it on time for your next batch of production. So this is what a 5PL do, is that they smooth your supply chain from the sourcing up to the delivery of the clients, and they do all this assembling. And I think the most interesting part of their added value is that they connect the data. They know your stock, they know your prices, they know your purchase orders from suppliers, and they help you get things smooth, that you don't buy too much inventory in advance. You just buy slowly when you need it, so that you don't have on hand too much of cash flow stocked in packaging or in inventory. So this is a little bit the differences between 1PL and 5PL. And basically, Amazon, fulfilled by Amazon, if some of you are trying to guess what it is, it's probably here in 3PL, between 3PL and 4PL, because it is 3PL first, because they do the storage, they do the pick and pack and ship for you. They can put a gift card and so on. So that's part of the packaging part. But also because Amazon also has suppliers, there is Amazon B2B. So Amazon can also actually do 4PL and 5PL. If your suppliers are inside Amazon, then you can order from this company product cartons A, and from this company the plastic and some other things, and then combine and they do for you the packaging. So this is a little bit the multi-levels party logistic partners. Now, an important thing that you need to master as a business person, as an entrepreneur, or as a manager is what is called the Incoterms. So Incoterms, the definition is, it's actually an internationally recognized set of rules on how the responsibility is shared between the buyer and the seller. The responsibility about shipping, about insurance, about clearing the taxes, paying the taxes, and so on. So all these responsibilities, they can be half-half between the seller and the buyer, or they can be mostly on the buyer side, they can be mostly on the seller side. And this is the logic on how it moves, is that, for example, here in dark blue, it's the seller obligation. That is your obligation from Azerbaijan when you're a seller. And then I'm colorblind, so I think this is pink maybe, or red. So this color here is the buyer obligation. And then this attention, this exclamation point here, it means the moment or the step at which the responsibility is transferred to the other party. The responsibility about the stock, if it's burned, if it's lost. In terms of insurance, there is a switch at one point depending on the Incoterm. So for example, the most used ones in international trade are usually these first four, but especially the FOB. So free on board. I guess some of you who are selling B2B, and if you sell on Alibaba and so on, this is the most used one. FOB, that means that you as a seller, you're going to bring your product up to the landing port. Okay, so what is the landing port? It is actually in your country, the point of exit. So it can be the airport of Baku, or it can be a port, the port of Poti, for example, if you take the responsibility until the port of Poti in Georgia. So you can say, I can ship FOB from Poti, or I can ship FOB from Baku Airport, International Airport. So FOB, you can see that about the third of the responsibility is on your side as the seller. But once you bring it to the airport, or once you bring it to the port of Poti and it enters the port, that's where there is a transfer of responsibility. Now it's the buyer's insurance, it's the buyer problem if something wrong happens, unless you cheated or unless you didn't send the right product. But that's where the responsibility is shifted. Now there is some other important Incoterm that you need to know. The first one, which is X-Works. The X-Works, from my experience, is the least favorable for you guys. Why I say that is because being in Azerbaijan and being a small and medium company, if you cannot compete on volume, meaning that if you cannot produce multiple containers and make your margin on the volume, then X value works is basically not so good for you, because you can see that the buyer is taking the almost all the responsibility. That means that he's coming to your factory, and when you produce and you just bring it at the door of your factory, they come, they say, okay, thank you, Eldar, we take it from here. You don't have to worry about bringing it out of Azerbaijan. You don't have to worry about putting it on a cargo ship or a cargo plane. We do everything, but the price is going to be very low because we come to you and we take all the responsibility. So this is how negotiation is made and how prices are pushed down when a buyer is coming to the early stages of Incoterms. Now, if you want to be smart, if you want to be more aggressive, if you want to actually control more of the supply value chain and cut off some intermediaries that do not add value, you have a lot of advantages if you can go up. Here it's down, but if you can go up in your responsibilities and go, how about can you do DDP? What is DDP? DDP is delivered duty paid. That means that if, let's say, I am in Azerbaijan and I sell, for example, I sell carpets, beautifully made, handmade carpets. I'm in Azerbaijan. I have some hotels in Paris. They want to buy my carpets, but the hotel needs like hundreds of carpets. So let's say it's going to be half a ton. But the Paris hotel, they don't want to deal with the papers. You know, they don't want to deal with VAT, with the import, with all these things. They just tell me, look, I want the carpets delivered to my hotel door because I just want to open the packet and roll them out in my five-star hotel. I don't want any trouble with the papers. If that's the case, it is a B2B deal, but it is me as an Azeri company that will take all these responsibilities here. So the first carrier along the ship, I bring it to the port, I transport, I arrive at Paris airport, I take care of unloading, put it in the truck, warehousing, and then deliver to the buyer. So you see that with DDP, at the very last minute, I transfer the responsibility to the customer, meaning that I'm at his door, and now I tell him, sir, everything is paid, everything is cleared. Here is the pallet, here is the container at your door. Thank you for your payments. This is DDP. And when you are doing e-commerce B2C, because we think that e-commerce B2C does not have Incoterm, actually it does. It's always DDP because a consumer, usually he don't want to deal with the cross-border papers. So when we are doing B2C, it should be always DDP. So I invite you to also study the other how you call it, Incoterms. And when I say study, I think you should take these good practices here on the left side, because you not only need to understand each term, what it means in terms of your responsibility and what you have to do, but also you have to be able to accept to offer any demanded term. So if you have a customer from Brazil that comes and tell you, look, I want CIF. Oh, I don't know what is CIF. It's okay. I don't say no. I go and study. That means that the cost, insurance, and freight is on my side, and I bring it until the first port of Brazil. So from my port in Poti or the airport in Baku, I take care of the transport and until it reaches the other port on the other side. And then I transfer to him or her the responsibility. So whatever is demanded, study it, call your broker, call your agent, tell him how much it will cost me to do SIF to Brazil, to Brasilia, or to Rio de Janeiro, how much it will cost me to do FOB to the port of New York, how much it will cost me to do DDP to the port of Rouen in France or the port of Milano in Italy or whatever. So you need to study an Incoterm with a destination, and then you are ready to answer clients. And the more you know your business in terms of Incoterms, the more the buyer will trust you because they feel like, oh, you know what you're doing. You know, if you say, I don't know, I'm not sure if I can do SIF, it's not really a good feedback for a buyer, especially professional buyers. So try to aim towards DDP because DDP is a new potential of clients. All the buyers, even big B2B buyers, some of them, they don't want to have the hassle of managing all these processes, and they're ready to pay a little bit more if you bring it to them. So be ready for DDP, because if you're ready for DDP, you're ready for everything else, basically. You don't have a surprise. You control all the costs. And this is what I mean by point 4. Know your costs until the last euro or last dollar, and then design per country, per Incoterm, your pricing per pallet, per container of 20 foot, per container of 40 foot, per carton of 20 units, per carton of 10 units, and per unit if you're going to ship 1 unit by air or whatever. So this is a little bit the strategic Incoterm knowledge that you need to have, and it's really not complicated. It may look complicated at first, but actually in real life, you will probably be using 2 or 3 Incoterms 90% of the cases. Now we have done the basics of logistics, and because e-commerce is nothing else than commerce, so we need to understand commerce. That's why we spend a bit of time on normal trade. And don't worry, actually e-commerce doesn't exist. It should be always commerce with a little bit of electronic. So that's why we need to really be good at normal business, at normal commerce. So now let's look at the logistic services that we can use in e-commerce. And it doesn't matter B2B or B2C because you can pretty much do everything with anyone. Every supplier can do B2B, can do B2C. It actually just depends what is your buyer, because otherwise they just ship for you. They just do the transport. So I try to collect for you all the information about pricing, about how long it takes to ship, so that you know the map of what is where, and depending on your need or your client need, you know which one you're going to choose. So for example, if I have a client that tells me, I need quickly 2 pallets and I cannot wait more than a week, and I don't want to pay FedEx or DHL expensive, find me a solution. Then the only thing that I have that can satisfy this 1 week delivery at a good price, because this axis, the horizontal axis, is how long it takes. So it can take more than 4 weeks if you ship by sea. It can take the next day if you have the products already with Amazon FBA near the client. So air grouping or bulk, break and bulk, or air freight in general, it takes a week or less. Between 3 to 5 days, you can bring a pallet to your client, to his air, especially if he's near the airport. If he's not near the airport, then there is a truck, then maybe it will add a day. So you see, I can satisfy this customer with air shipping. Now, if the customer can wait 2 weeks, I have other options. I can ship by road, because from Azerbaijan to Poland, I can ship within 48 hours, 72 hours. I can reach Warsaw, or I can reach the Czech Republic. And then if it's a small order, I can ship by EMS. And again, here you can see that the price can go as low as $1 per kilo. That is when you ship by sea. By sea, when you ship a container of 40 foot, and the container has, I don't know, 10 tons of products, and you pay $4,000, then the price is like a few cents per kilo. So that's the cheapest you can ever get, is the sea freight. But then the sea freight may take 4 weeks. So is it a good deal? Can you do it if a client is in a rush? So this is what you need to compare. So I put for you different options here, and you can see that, for example, shipping in express courier like DHL, UPS, or anything like this, that can be fast, but that can be very expensive. It can go up to $30 per kilo, sometimes even more, because Azerbaijan doesn't have a flow from Azerbaijan to the US. So if you want to send a FedEx from Azerbaijan to the US, it will cost you $100. But to send a FedEx from the US to Azerbaijan is only $30. This is because they have so much flow coming in, but not so much flow going out of Azerbaijan. So this is unfortunately the situation, and I just wanted to share with you the spectrum. Now, from my experience, the most efficient way of shipping for last mile for consumers is to actually use sea freight. Before you sell the item, you already send a container or a pallet. It will take 1 month, but we don't care because we haven't made the sale. So there's nobody waiting. The only one waiting is us as a seller. So I use the sea freight. I send all my pallets to Germany or Spain or wherever I'm going to store it with Amazon. So it takes a month. It's okay. It costs me very cheap. Once it reaches Italy or Spain, I will take a truck and ship it to Amazon warehouses. And now the stock is in Europe, in Amazon warehouses. And now the last mile is going to be much cheaper than shipping from Azerbaijan directly. Plus, they can get it within 1, 2, or 3 days. So this is a little bit the idea of this map for you as a strategy. The fastest and the most expensive, and I have seen it, is that some companies, they are so much in rush, or some clients are so much in rush, they tell you, you know what, put somebody on a plane with a suitcase and just deliver it today. So somebody, Eldar, we give him a suitcase, we give him a carton of 20 kilo or whatever, and he takes a flight and go to Paris. He pays the customs at the arrival at Paris airport. He takes a taxi, he goes to the customer, he delivers, total cost $1,000, but the client wanted it. So everything is possible in the spectrum. And that's why I put it the man with a suitcase, that's Eldar. The last one, but not least, that I wanted to highlight with you is the very left and bottom logistic provider, which I call the informal logistic provider. The informal logistic provider can be one guy who is not registered, he's not professional, he has a van, maybe he goes once a month to Moscow, from Baku to Moscow, and he tells you, yes, next week I'm going. I can ship for you just $1 per kilo, and I bring you everything to Moscow without paying any tax, nothing, because I don't declare anything. So this kind of provider, they exist, and there are actually a lot of them, but you have to be very careful because then your image is at stake. It may never arrive because if he doesn't do the paperwork, the Russian authorities at the border, they may just seize the merchandise. So either it will never arrive, which is the most expensive, you lose the merchandise, you get fines, or the gentleman never goes. He said he's going next week, and then he postponed to the next week, next month, nothing. So be careful with informal logistics. It is better to study, strategize, and use the formal ways, combine them, find the smartest way, and be safe in your mind, be tranquil, you know. You sleep well, you know that your merchandise is handled, it's insured, there is an insurance, and so on. So this is a little bit the spectrum and the study that I have done for you. Just for your information, usually when you send by postal mail, B2C orders, we think that it's good, but the reality is that it's not good. It's good for you because it's easy. You go to the post office in Baku and you just push your carton, but it's really not good for the customers because it may take 2 weeks, it may take 3 weeks, 4 weeks. They may have to pay VAT, so nobody is doing the paperwork, and it gives some damages. EMS is a little bit better, but EMS is still not good enough from my perspective. This is not good enough for B2C e-commerce. It is usable, but it's not good enough. Just so that you know where this is in terms of satisfying the client. The more you go up and right, the more you're able to satisfy B2C customers. And in this area, you're satisfying B2B buyers very well. And in this area, you're satisfying most of B2B buyers quite well. And then let's look at the different types of fulfilling orders. So fulfillment is you have an order and now you have to deliver and provide the service or provide the product. So there are two methods. One is fulfilled by merchant, FBM, which means the merchant is you, the seller. That means that you're doing the storage, you're getting the payments, the order, and then you pick and pack, you put in a carton, and then you ship, you do all the paperwork and you ship. But you also make the customer wait because the products are in Azerbaijan. It will take time to cross to go into Russia or to cross to go into Europe. There's documentation, there is hygiene controls, there is all these things, there is duties, VAT to pay. So all this may take 1 day at the border, it may take 3 days. Many times I saw shipments blocked at the border for weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you have to pay for storage fee in the duty zone, which is very expensive. So, and the customer doesn't know exactly when it will arrive, but it's doable. And also you're not up to the expectations of the customer. That's what I wanted to mean. And when you ship after the order and there is a problem with the product and you want to return it back to Baku, the return is even more expensive because you paid the VAT entering Germany, for example, and then the customer doesn't want it. So you have to bring it out of Germany. The VAT you paid, you don't get it back. Then the product comes back to you in Baku, and Baku customs authorities, they say, oh, this is an import. Now pay the VAT in Azerbaijan because you didn't do the paperwork properly. So I see many people getting stuck with returns, losing the merchandise, paying taxes in double. So be careful with this. Just know what you're doing, study it in advance. And then the other way is to move your products before you sell them. You move them into the country of your client and put them with a fulfillment partner. So then it becomes fulfilled by A, fulfilled by B, fulfilled by whoever is the letter or the provider. So fulfilled by Amazon, FBA, is Amazon that is stocking your product. So what they do is that they receive your pallets, they organize them, they store them, and then everything is managed by them. And plus your products, if you're selling B2C, they will appear as Prime. That means that customers who have Prime membership will get free and fast shipping. And also the returns, they get a return address, Amazon warehouses, and Amazon manages the returns. So once the returns reach to Amazon, you can consolidate and Amazon tells you what you want to do with it. So this is the two modes. You fulfill the orders or you get someone else to fulfill your orders. Now, if you get someone else to fulfill your orders, I just want to present to you how mechanically, operationally this works. Just check the time that we are on time. There's so much to say for logistics. It's probably the most complex part for cross-border e-commerce. So this actually will make you understand why we need so many things that I will present in the next slides. So if you ship your pallet to, let's say, the Amazon warehouse. So this is the truck that came from Baku to, let's say, German Amazon warehouse in somewhere near Berlin or Frankfurt. So the truck arrives, they unload your carton, your pallet or your carton. So this is the reception of the goods. They receive them. And then you see this lady at the table here. What she's doing is that she's going to scan every carton. And then if the carton has all the information of how many units and what kind of product is inside, it will put it into their inventory system. So that's the scanning. But you can see she has a printer because sometimes we didn't label our products. We didn't put the labels. So Amazon or others have this service. They can print a label for you with a barcode, stick it on your products, but they charge you. They can charge you 20 cents, 50 cents, up to $1 just to stick a label on every unit. So if it's only 20 cents, which is Amazon cost, 20, 25 cents, and you only have 100 products, it's worth it. But if you have 100 units, 1,000 units, maybe it's better to do the labels yourself in Azerbaijan. So once the labeling is fine and they scan the product and it goes into their system, now it shows as stock available in Amazon Germany. Then what they're going to do is that they're going to do the shelving. So they bring it here into the shelves. They even have smaller shelves where they put unit by unit, product by product, variation by variation. So you will have a section of a shelf. So for example, if you went to IKEA, you see that IKEA has shelving with pallets. They have row A, row B, row C, row D, and then they have line 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe you will get row B, position 2, fourth level. So they will allocate for you one specific space in the shelving system. And then once your clients will order online, they will receive automatically the order, and they will do what we call the pick and pack. So they will, let's say they buy the blue carpet and the red carpet from me, and they are both in Amazon warehouses. One person here will go and pick these two carpets, and then he will pack them. So they will do the pick and pack, put them together in one carton, roll them together, and then they do the fifth point, which is they send it for shipping. So it goes out of Amazon warehouse to your clients, and they do the delivery slip, the customer signs, and everything is managed. And if the customer will return the goods, then he will come back from here. It will come back from here. It will get scanned. Once it's scanned, it pops up a message for you. It says, this unit has been returned. What do you want to do with it? So basically, this is how it works. It comes in from here, it goes out from here, and comes back in. What you need to know, and is important, so that you can benefit from fulfillment partner services, is that before you can work with them, you really need to be ready. You need to have your inventory ready in terms of organizing your different types of products, different types of variations, and having your labels and so on. And I'm going to show you later on what it means. But just keep in mind that this is really needed for them. The returns management, especially when you ship from Azerbaijan, like I was saying, and especially B2C, this is the biggest hurdle. This is one return can kill 5 sales from my experience. So I made 5 sales to earn 100 euro, and then one return I lost 100 euro. So this is how much you can lose with B2C with returns. So you have to be very careful with returns. You have to really be prepared. So what can you do? What I advise you to do to have the lowest possible return is to do like this. First, when you put your products online, on Amazon, on eBay, on Alibaba, on your own website, invest a lot of time about your product information. Put everything. The weight, the composition, cotton or not cotton, polystyrene, not polystyrene, it has chemicals, not chemicals, I have this certification or not, everything. And even the colors, write them up. This is red, this is blue, lapizuli, this is dark blue. Everything has to be clear. I have this certification from the Azeri authorities. The net weight is 500 grams, but the gross weight, because there is a glass bottle, then it's 1 kilo. You know, all these little details that for you, you may think is not important, but for the customer is important, because as soon as there is one information missing, they can return the item. But if they saw the information, that means they did the purchase, but they knew what they're purchasing. They cannot say, I didn't know that it was shipped in a glass bottle. No, it was there. It was in the photo. It was written in the thing. We even put the weight of the glass together with the product, and we also put how much actual product there is, because the bottle of glass is very heavy. Second point is that do not sell a product that you do not master. Do not go and sell a product that you just made or you just sourced from somewhere and you're not sure about its quality. You're not sure about how it works. You're not sure about if it's going to satisfy the customer or not. So only sell what you know. Sell what you know is good. Doesn't have a product weakness, because the product weakness, maybe you can handle it in Azerbaijan. If you sell a product that is not so good to somebody in Baku, he just bring it back to you, it costs you nothing. But if you sell something that is not so good to somebody in France or Madrid, that will cost you a lot, and they can blacklist you on the marketplace. So don't do that. Only sell what is very good. And this may seem strange, but to have less returns, if you actually offer free shipping and free returns, you actually have less returns, because you get more trust. The customers are not worried. Like, they may hesitate, but they say, oh, wait, you know what? I'm going to wait another 1 month. Maybe I don't know how to use this product. anyway, I can return it. I can wait 1 week. And then once they get to use it, there's less chances that they're going to return it. So it's important because psychologically, it has an impact. It builds the trust, it builds your brand. So as much as you can, offer free shipping, offer free return so that the customer feels peace of mind. Now, the fourth point is that don't deal with returns one by one, because if you try to handle the returns one by one, it's going to cost you a lot. So try to consolidate. If you have a partner in Paris, if you have a partner in Berlin, get everything sent there. If not, Amazon can handle this if you're using Amazon warehouses. So consolidate, and if you really need to return it to Azerbaijan, then you return it as one pallet or as one container and you deal with it in one go. But otherwise, if you're not going to return it to Azerbaijan, then I strongly recommend, if it's not too much loss, to actually use the returns as a marketing trick. Like 5 of my small carpets were returned, but I have some very good clients, you know, that hotel in Paris. Well, the red carpet was returned, but it's cute. I'm going to ship it for free. I'm going to offer it as a free gift to the manager of the hotel. Tell him, we are as a reward for our business relationship, we're happy to offer you our mini model of red carpet for free, because it is cheaper to give it for free to a good client or potentially make a new sale than bring it back to Azerbaijan. It costs you money to bring it back. If you cannot give it as a gift and leverage it as a marketing power, then you may be able to resell it half price with 30% discount. So you can use it as a bargain, as a special offer on your website. And on that case, you have to show that it's secondhand. It's not new, but you can say package was opened, but never used, but it's secondhand, so that people understand that it's not completely new. So this is also one good technique to actually resell. And when you sell it with 30% discount or 40% discount, usually what I do is that I just take out my margin. What was going to be my profit, I remove it. I sell at cost, because it's better for me to sell at cost and get rid of that inventory rather than having a headache to bring it back or whatever try to do. And also it brings me some new clients because they get to buy a first item at a discount price, and then sometimes they buy a second item at full price. So this is about the returns. Now let's dive into the actual packaging and labeling knowledge that you need to have. The first thing that you need to really make sure you're trying to do it best as much as you can is the product packaging itself. And in the industry, they call it primary packaging, secondary packaging, and tertiary packaging. It's not that complicated. Primary packaging basically is the first envelope, the first carton, the first box, or even the bottle itself of a product with its label, with its design and so on. That's primary packaging. If you're selling a shirt like this, the primary packaging of a shirt will be the transparent plastic that I will put the shirt in. That will be the primary packaging. Secondary packaging is the carton of 20 units. So the carton of 20 units is like the first level of grouping. That's secondary packaging. Tertiary packaging is a pallet of 8 cartons. So each level of packaging has its own barcode, has its own label, has its own number of units, so that it's easy for everyone to scan that packaging and know how many units are inside. So if I scan this barcode, it will tell me there is 1 unit. If I scan this barcode, it will tell me there is 20 units. If I scan this barcode, it will tell me that there's 8 cartons of 20 units, so 160 units. That's why they need these 3 levels of packaging. Now, who needs this? Sometimes we think that just the client wants it, but actually no, everybody wants it. The buyer wants it, the shipping provider, the fulfillment center, the customs agents, because if you have this organization and they can scan it, they often don't even open the carton. They see this is a serious business. It has primary, secondary, tertiary packaging, everything is listed properly, labels, it's very well done. The weight of the pallets corresponds to the number of units and so on. So everybody in the supply chain of logistics will be happy to work with you if you can achieve this level of packaging these 3 levels. But if you cannot, at least the very minimum you should have is primary packaging and secondary packaging. If you do not do this, things will cost you more expensive. Less logistic providers will want to work with you because you will be a headache client. If you only have shirts that you give them all messed up in one carton, nobody wants to work with you. It's not a scalable business. So this is a little bit the different levels of packaging, and this is how we've done it for a Syrian handicraft clothing cooperative. So they sell a shirt. So we did a small plastic film, and then this plastic film has the barcode, the description, the title, the SKU. We will see what it is later, and even the price. And then we had this carton box. I buy it from Carrefour. So you don't need something like super, it just has to make sense for your product. So because they didn't have any secondary packaging, we went and we bought these pieces of carton for 50 cents. And this piece of carton can fit 20 units. So now there goes my secondary package. So it's as simple as that. And with this very simple arrangement, I entered the club of ready SMEs, of quality logistic SMEs. Next, how can you achieve this level of maturity for your logistics? It's very important to follow this specific 3 rules, this specific process. First, you need to really organize or reorganize your inventory, your catalog. You first have to have an SKU. If you don't know what is an SKU, we're gonna see it in the next slide. But just for now, keep in mind SKU is the #1 reference in e-commerce. You cannot do e-commerce if you don't know what is in SKU. I mean, you cannot do good e-commerce if you don't know what is SKU, if you don't have an SKU on your e-commerce website. Actually, even your e-commerce website is generating an SKU, and sometimes we don't even know we have one. So SKU, stock keeping unit, we will see what it is. Once you have an SKU, then you can link an SKU to a barcode. It's a one-to-one relationship. So once you have the barcode, you can print the label. Okay, and this is the only way you can do it, one after one. So the 3 important rules, the 3 elements, these are the 3 elements you must have to be a good e-commerce logistic ready company. You need to follow this exact order. First, get the SKU right, get the barcode, and then create the label. Finally, it is one-to-one-to-one, meaning that there is no 2 products that can have the same SKU. There should be no 2 products variation that has the same barcode. That means that at the end, there is no 2 products that should have the same label. Every product variation should have a unique label, a unique barcode, a unique SKU. This is what it means. If you do not do that, you're going to have an inventory that have duplicates. And when you have duplicates, for example, this shirt, red color, and this shirt, blue color, have the same label, my logistic partner will ship the wrong color to the wrong customer because I didn't differentiate them. And they have no way to know because my inventory was not organized. This is why it is so important. So what is SKU? Because this is like the pillar of e-commerce logistic preparation. So SKU, stock keeping unit. It's actually very simple. It's just a unique reference, but it's not a reference for a product because a product can have different colors, different brands, different sizes. For example, a shirt can have a pocket here, 2 pockets, 0 pocket, buttons, no buttons, color, no color. There are so many variations for one given product. So you need to codify every combination of variations. So not only you have to cover the different colors, you have to cover the different colors for the different size with or without pocket. So you see, for example, this simple t-shirt that many of us would think this is just one product. This is just one SKU. Actually, at the end, this is 120 SKUs. Why? Because this t-shirt is available in the brand Fusion, and it's a t-shirt, yes, this is the first 2 layers of defining this SKU. But then I have round neck and V-neck, Chinese neck, and some other kind of neck options. And then once I have the neck chosen, I have different pattern. I have Azeri pattern, I have Georgian pattern, I have whatever pattern, I have African pattern. I have a tribal pattern, I have a modern pattern, I have a urban, you know, or artistic, whatever. We may have different designs. Each design would make it a unique item again. And then once you choose one design, then you may have for men, you may have it for women. So this is the cutting. The cutting may be different. Once you have it for men, then it's available in 3 colors, 4 colors, 5 colors. Let's say we go for the blue. And then once you have the color, we have 4 or 5 sizes. Let's say it's a small man, so we're gonna have size S. So you can see that tack, 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 until we reach the absolute unique combination of all my options. And once I have each one combination possible, gives one SKU. And my SKU, what I advise you is that the SKU, the way you build it, it should have some ways to recognize what is it. For example, the brand Fusion, I'm going to use FUSH to codify the brand. T-shirt, I'm going to say it's TS. R-neck, I'm going to say it's RN. Actually, I made a mistake, you see. I should have put here RN. So this is good to solve your mistakes at the modeling level. And then tribal design, I call it TR. For men, I just put it as M. Color blue, BL. Size S, S. So when I read my SKU, as a business owner, I know exactly what kind of t-shirt, what kind of option is this particular variation of product. And then this would be my SKU that I will enter on my website, that I will enter on Amazon, on eBay, on Alibaba, everywhere. They will ask you the SKU. For this particular variation, you will put this one. For the, if you take the size M, it will be exactly the same, but the last one instead of S will become M, and so on. I think you got the point. So this looks so stupid or so simple, but it's actually what I noticed is that this is the hardest to do for small and medium enterprises, because sometimes we started producing and we just call it T1, T2, T3, T4 as t-shirts, you know, and then shirt we call it S1, S2, and we didn't have a proper nomenclature. We didn't have a proper code for our products. And it's very important if you want to be successful in e-commerce to reconsider your inventory codification. And it's not difficult to do, as you can see. So this is the most important point. This is where I think we should spend the most time, because this will define all the other next information. The next information is the barcode. Now the barcode, many of us are scared of it. I don't have a barcode unless you're in the food industry. But if you're selling carpets, if you're selling some clothes or some other things, you may not have a barcode, because by law, you're not obliged to have one. So a barcode is, what is it? It's very simple. It's a machine readable code. It's a sequence of bars that when you scan it with an infrared scanner that you see on every shopping center when you go do your shopping, that when it's scanned, it will pull the data. It will actually give a reference number. And this reference number is unique to that particular product. For example, this could be my t-shirt, blue, V-neck, size S for men. This very unique barcode is corresponding to that very unique SKU. Now, what is it? Mathematically speaking, there are different standards for barcodes. In Europe, and I think Eastern Europe as well, we're using what is called EAN 13. This is just a mathematical formula that takes 12 digits, that actually these 12 digits, they are codifying certain important information. For example, the first 2 or 3 digits, they say from which country this is coming. So Azerbaijan, I forgot the number, but I think it's 46 or something like this. And then the next 5, they codify the manufacturer, the factory, or whoever is making the product. And then the next 4 digits, they qualify the brand, the type, the shirt, and so on. It's for you, the GS1 will give it to you, and it codifies a certain category of product and variations. And then the last digit is actually, you should not do it. You should not choose it, because it's generated by the algorithm, and it's called the check digit. So the 13th, the point 13, is actually mathematically generated according to the 12 first numbers. So depending on the series of 12 numbers here, it will generate a specific number, and this number actually will make this barcode valid or not. So if, for example, I go and I say, you know what, the last number I'm going to put 2 instead of 7. So if I put 2 instead of 7 at the end, when they will read it, it will be red, cannot recognize the barcode. That's why they call it a check code. It verifies that the first 12 are matching together. So this is enough technicalities, but in America they have another how you call it, standard, mathematical standard, which may have just 11 numbers. It's called the UPC standard for America and Canada and Mexico. Now, if you do not have anyone, you don't have EN13, you don't have UPC, you still can sell on Amazon. And Amazon will actually generate one specific barcode for you, which they call the ASIN, an Amazon specific index number, I think it means. But basically, this is what it means. Now, the next question is, okay, I get it about what is a barcode, but how can I get one? So, option 1, which is on the long term, what you should do is that you should buy it. You should buy it from GS1. GS1 Azerbaijan is in Baku, and you can subscribe to their GS1 membership, and you can buy a certain number of GS1 codes, let's say 1,000, and then they give you 1,000 barcodes that are specifically for your enterprise, for your factory in Baku, Azerbaijan. So you have a unique code here that only you can get it. And then they give you, for example, 1,000. That means you have 3 digits, and you can use these 3 digits numbers to match each barcode to each SKU. So you can match up to 1,000 SKU, for example, if you buy 1,000 GS1 barcodes. That's called the tranche. It's a tranche. So this is how you do it. But if, let's say, you don't have the money, or you don't want to spend now, you want to start testing the market before investing, then you can actually do it yourself. This is the DIY method. And last year or before, I did a training in Azerbaijan about how to do it yourself. And I shared an Excel file, and you can find it online actually. You can just Google how to generate an EAN13 barcode. And as long as you design your own first 12 digits, you make your SKU, you create 12 digits, and then you match them to the SKU, and then you go online, you generate the last 13 code, and there you go. You have an EAN13 compatible barcode that can be scanned by anyone. The only difference between do it yourself and buy it from GS1 is that if you scan a barcode that was given to you by GS1, the buyer or the manufacturer or the shopping center, they can scan it, and then it will pull the page. They can find the product on the GS1 international database. It will say, this is a fashion brand t-shirt, men, blue color, V-neck, from company Baku Cloth. So you appear in their international database, but that's all it gives you, technically speaking. The one that you do it yourself is still scannable, but there is nowhere else than your website where I can find it. So if they go to your website and they scan the barcode, they enter the barcode number, they may find this particular product, but they will not find it in the international database of GS1. That's all. That's the main difference. And you can switch between the two of them. The best for long term is to have GS1. So once you have, now we have the SKU. Now for each SKU, unique variation combination we have, for each SKU we have a matching barcode, be it a free or official one that I pay for it. Now we can go to the next item that we need for our logistics, which is the labeling. Now the labeling is not complicated. These labels, I've done them on PowerPoint. What is a label? A label is just what it should say is, as you can see here, the product name, a small description, the ingredients, the net weight, the batch number if you have batch numbers, the expiry date if it's a product that expires, the barcode that we talked about, right? And sorry, here I deleted by mistake, but there is the SKU. The SKU is here. So I deleted it from here by mistake. So there should be the SKU, which is here. Etu, Sav, Karité, Neem soap, 100 grams. That's what it means here. Shea Neem soap. And you can put labels with prices or without prices. And you can put QR codes, which I really invite you to put. It's free to generate. You can just Google generate a QR code. So the best thing to do is to take the URL of this product on your website, create the QR code, and add it to your label. So that if I'm a custom agent, if I want to check if this product really exists, or if some information is missing, I want to see more photos, I can, with my smartphone, scan the QR code and I see it in your company website. Oh, okay, I see. Actually, it's a carpet of 2 meters. Its weighs 10 kilo. It's made of cotton and linen. Okay, got it. Okay, we can clear it. So it's not compulsory, but it's a very useful free thing to have on the label. Now, once you put all this data together, that will be on the left side, that will be your primary packaging. For example, if I show you this product here, this is the primary packaging labeling. You see, description, what it does, the ingredients, and so on. And then barcode here, it actually has 2 barcodes. Okay, so it has what I'm showing you here on my slide is actually what you have here, and I designed it vertically exactly for this type of product, for a bottle. But you can also design them horizontal. You can make them round. You can make them any shape you need to match your product packaging. Okay, now this is primary packaging. Now secondary packaging is the carton of 12 units or 20 units that I showed you about the shirts from Syria. So I designed another SKU. You can see here, it's a new SKU. It's the same beginning. You can see that this SKU has all the same as this one here. But at the end, after 100, I put C1. That means carton 1. Carton 1 has 10 units. This is how I organize my inventory. So for each carton of this kind of product variation, each carton will have its own barcode, its own SKU, its own QR code, so that when I scan this carton, when my logistic partner scans this carton, he knows that it's the carton with this soap, and I put the photo, by the way, color, and there are 10 units, and the total weight is 3 kilo. So this is what you need to achieve, and it's really not difficult. I can give you the templates, by the way. I can share them, the PowerPoint file, so you can print them. So primary packaging, secondary packaging for my product with my SKU, my barcode, my product information, everything that everybody needs is here. They don't need to call me. Now, tertiary packaging. You remember tertiary packaging is the big pallet. The big pallet, for example, may have 10 cartons of 10 units or whatever. So for my pallet, what I do is a A4 page label, so that I stick it on the front of the pallet, I stick it on the side, 2 sides, in the back, on the top, because sometimes when they take your pallet, they turn it, they have to search. I want to make my partners easy to work with me, so I stick it on all sides of the pallet. So there I put HS code, because the customs, they will want to know what it is, photo, the SKU of the product itself, the information of the products, the cartons. There are 10 units of 10 cartons of 10 units. My company information, my account number with the logistic partner, because then he can clear for me the customs. He knows my company name, he knows my description, who we are. Phone number, this is stupid, but sometimes custom authorities can just ring you. Mohammed, the Karité soap, does it have paraffin or not? Because we're not sure. No, sir, it doesn't have paraffin. I did the label. I told you there's no paraffin. I did my label very well. Thank you, sir. We can now clear it. It's safe to go. So put all this information, your email, who you are, where you are, because then you make everybody happy to work with you. So this would be closing our labels. And I'm sorry, I'm going very fast, but you can come back, like Arif was asking before, when I shared the documentation, you can come back to it and watch again this webinar as much as you want. So let's assume that now we are ready with our labeling and inventory management side. Now we can talk about the last thing that we need to solve to really benefit and to be good in terms of logistics and make money instead of losing money. So what you have to know is that, especially if you work with the European Union, is that the European Union is not a free market. It's a fortress. It's probably one of the most headache, complicated stringent zone to do business with. But it's okay, because if it's tough to do business with, that means that you have less competitors. So if you can enter the EU for a specific product that other sellers from Georgia or other sellers from Romania, not Romania, they're already in the EU, but I don't know, from Russia or from Kazakhstan, they don't enter the EU market, you enter as an Azeri, you will be competing with the Europeans who actually normally have higher prices, and you can offer same quality or even better. So what is a problem can become an advantage for you if you respect the following rules. So the requirements are that you have to make sure that you have all the certifications, hygiene, sanitary documents, ISO standards, whatever is required by the European Union. Of course, you need to always cover the duties, unless, and this is good to know for you from Azerbaijan, you do not have to pay duties if the total value of the package is less than 150 euro. That's called the de minimis. So if I'm importing something to Germany, I ship a carton, and including shipping fees, my invoice is less than 150 euro, I don't pay the 5% or the 10% or the 2% duty fees on cotton or on soap or whatever it is, because I'm under the de minimis. I'm under the minimum value under which customs don't want to have a headache to do the paperwork. But for B2C, the de minimis for the VAT is 22 euro. That means that if your customer order is more than 22 euro, you always have to do the VAT. You have to add the VAT and pay the VAT. Either you pay it from Azerbaijan for your client, or the client will pay it, but nobody can escape it. And then if let's say you have a B2B order, you may think, I don't need to deal with the European VAT, but yes, because if you do not include the VAT number of your client in your invoice to say to the European custom authorities that, look, this is coming into the European Union under the VAT number of my buyer. His company name is something from Hotel Palace Paris, and their EU VAT number is FR 725122. They will handle the VAT. I'm just pushing in. I'm just paying the custom duties. VAT is on my buyer. So that's what you have to do. Point 4, if it's a B2B buyer, you have to just understand it, put it in the proper invoice format. And then if you're dealing with small shipments with cartons and so on, you have to consider that every time a packet or a carton or a pallet has to go through the paperwork of European Union, there is always a minimum fee of 18 euro. So if you're shipping a carton that you sold for 50 euro, you have to, even if it's B2B, you're going to lose 20 euro just for submitting the papers. You haven't paid the taxes yet. It's just to open the file is 18 euro. So this is the situation that will help you to define what is the average order amount you should have. For example, you may decide not to sell anything below 100 euro, or in B2B, you may decide that I'm not going to sell anything below 1,000 euro. If the client doesn't order at least 1,000 euro, at least a pallet, at least half a pallet, 8 cartons, it's not worth for me to ship 1 carton. Maybe for samples, like maybe once. So this is a little bit what I wanted to share with you on this slide. The next slide is about the VAT and the e-fulfillment strategy. So, so the first slide here was that you ship from Azerbaijan after you get the money and the order from your client. And then after you get the order, then you deal with all the paperwork, the custom borders and stuff. But if you want to be the most cost-effective and the most easy to work with as from the buyer perspective, then you want to look at e-fulfillment. When you want to work with e-fulfillment, then you need to deal with the VAT yourself, because you're now bringing the products to UK, for example, first before you sell them. So you have 2 ways to use e-fulfillment. And we have seen this in last week company formation webinar, which explains better than now what I'm trying to say. But I'll try to go to the specific point that I want to have today, is that there are 2 types of fulfillment. There is what Amazon calls fulfilled by Amazon normal, which is your products enter from the UK, they're stored in the UK, in London warehouse. And if you happen to have buyers from Poland, buyers from Italy buys from France or from Spain, the carton, the item will be shipped from England to that country. But that costs more money, that takes more time, and it costs in average 10 euro to ship from London to France. You already paid the shipping from Baku to London, and then you still have to pay, in that case, from London to France if you have a client there. But for the UK, British clients that are in the United Kingdom, for them, it will appear as Prime. It will have free shipping. It's very cheap. It's local, and it's faster. So this is fulfilled by Amazon normal way. And then you have another way, which can be super powerful, if it makes sense for your product, is to move from normal FBA to Amazon Pan-European FBA. Pan-European FBA, what it is that you still can bring your product from the UK. You ship 2 pallets or 1 pallet to the UK, but you also open warehousing accounts with Amazon in Germany, in France, Italy, and Spain. And what happens is that when you open those accounts, those storage accounts, Amazon will start, for example, I put 1,000 carpets in storage in London. Amazon will study the demand, and they will keep 500 carpets in London. They will move 50 carpets to Germany, 50 carpets to France, 50 carpets to Spain, 50 to Italy, to prepare for potential orders that will come so that they can ship it faster over there because it's stored already in Italy. So the good thing is that when Amazon dispatches your stock all over Europe, you don't have to pay for it. They do it with their own, because they have ships that trucks that go every day, every week. They go around between different warehouses, so they can afford to move things left and right at no cost, virtually no cost. Now, if you do that, you will be able actually to ship to almost any country in Europe. You can ship 2 kilo for less than 5 euro, and the customer gets it the same day or the next day. That means that you can have a customer from the Netherlands, from France, from Italy, or from Spain. First, he will see the product in Prime, even in Amazon Spain. If he's on Amazon France, he will see it in Prime. That means that he will have free and fast shipping. So this makes more sales, of course. And secondly, for you, it costs you less. For them, it's also faster. They can get it the same day. Sometimes I order in Spain, I order in the morning from Amazon. I get it in the evening, because sometimes it's just in the Madrid warehouse and they ship it over the same day. And then for you, it reduces the cost, and you're present in 6 countries. Now, you have to be powerful in 6 countries. You have to be VAT registered in 6 countries. And this is what is called the Nexus rule. So the Nexus is not a phone brand. Many think it's a phone brand when we start to talk about Nexus. Nexus is a legal fiscal concept. It means, where are you going to be taxed? That's what is Nexus. Nexus is, where is the jurisdiction, which jurisdiction is going to tax you now? So the Nexus in European Union for VAT is that the rule is, if you stock 1 unit of any product in my country, I'm Italy, if you stock 1 product in Italy, your Nexus for this inventory is Italy. That means that you need to register, you need to get a VAT number in Italy. You need to register your products in our Italian VAT, collect Italian VAT, and get back Italian VAT. So you need, every time you have 1 unit stocked somewhere in one of the countries, you need the VAT number. So when Amazon is going to move your products left and right, they will ask you, give me your French VAT number, give me your Spanish VAT number, give me your Italian VAT number, or I cannot put stock there. That's what it means. So in the other training that we did about company information, I introduced to you also a service from Amazon called Amazon VAT Tax Services, that they can help you with obtaining and managing VAT numbers and the reporting to make it life easier. And they even offer the first year for free. So this looks complicated, and it is a little bit complicated, but it is super powerful, especially if you're selling B2C or small cartons, because you will not be able to find cheaper logistic fees. And secondly, you can sell B2C and B2B, because Amazon has B2B. And more importantly, even if you don't sell on Amazon, I can sell on Etsy, I can sell on eBay, I can sell on my website in Azerbaijan, I can sell on another website of a partner, and I can deliver all the orders from Europe from Amazon warehouse. So Amazon warehouse is not telling you we only ship the products that you're selling on Amazon where we have 15% commission. They're okay. If the sale comes from Facebook, WhatsApp, your website, Etsy, eBay, you can plug it automatically and they ship it for you. So this is also very powerful if you want to really go at the maximum pinnacle readiness for logistics for e-commerce. So that will close a little bit the strategy that I wanted to share with you. And I'm going to finish on again, 6 or 7 important points and good habits to have, the good practices. And then I will be happy to take questions. So number 1 that we saw together is that please do not do beginner mistakes with logistics, because beginner mistakes with logistics, they cost a lot of money. It's really painful, especially for SMEs. Like I told you, one wrong order kills the profit of 5 orders. It's really like very bad when you have a return or when you make a mistake. So rule number 1, study your logistics arrangements. Study country by country. Study for 1 unit, for a carton, for a pallet, for a 20-foot container, for a 40-foot container, by sea, by air, by road, by anything. So get the whole matrix, get all the prices from DHL, the prices from EMS, from Azeri Post, the prices from Azerbaijan Airlines for cargo, the prices from DHL Cargo, by sea freight from Poti. Get all this for everything. Then you're ready. You're ready to answer quotations. You're ready to plan your costs and your logistics. So study, study, study. Know every cost, every detail. Second, be ready to accept any Incoterm. I have a client, like I said, from Brazil. He wants DDP. No problem. I already studied it. I know how much it costs. Sir, my invoice to you, FOB, is this much. DDP is this much for 1 pallet. It's this much for 1 container. Would you like to proceed? This is how you do better conversion for B2B deals. Number 3, before people ask you, you need to have your pricing for your product for every quantity, every volume, and for every type of shipping or destination. Like I told you, if you're going to sell in France and you're going to spend money doing marketing in France, before you start all this, define all your prices. DDP, FOB, for 1 kilo, for 2 kilo, for 100 units, for 1 pallet, 2 pallet. Like I said, know your stuff. Not only know your costs, but also know the pricing for the customer. So that, again, you are wondering how much I should sell on Amazon. No problem. I know already. I know my costs. I know my price, including VAT, not including VAT, including custom duties, not including custom duties, including insurance, not including insurance. This is all about the Incoterms that we saw at the beginning. So that's for point number 3. Point number 4, and I know this is the hardest. Point number 4 is work very hard on your inventory. Work very hard on the classification of your catalog, because it looks so useless when we just start to do e-commerce. It looks like this is something, I'll do it at the end. But it's actually the very thing that you need to do at the very beginning. Because if you don't do it at the beginning, you will think like, why nothing is working? I send my carton to DHL, they lose it. This guy in e-fulfillment, he was supposed to send the red shirt, he sent the blue shirt, and you think it's not your fault, but actually it's your fault, because you haven't classified, you haven't organized, you haven't codified your inventory so that it's ready for almost touchless logistics. That means that the carton comes, it's scanned, or it's actually automatically scanned. It comes into DHL warehouse, there's a scanner on top of the door, they scan, beep, this entered, this went out. They don't want to deal with your items. That's the very big importance that you need to have and organize your SKU, barcode, labels, and stick them everywhere. Number 5, each packaging should have its own label. So each primary packaging for each product variation, but also each carton, secondary packaging. At least you need to have primary packaging, secondary packaging, everything labeled properly with SKU, barcode, and label. This is what you need to have, the minimum. And if you can, and it's not difficult, you can do the tertiary packaging, which is for 1 pallet or a group of 8 cartons or whatever it is. Number 6 is a good practice, is that when you do a carton, don't mix different SKUs. So for example, if you're going to ship or you want to start to do marketing for shirts, do not send only 2 shirts of blue size or blue color size M and only 3 of the red color, just 1 for the gray color because you think that they will not buy it. So you send a little bit of this one, a little bit of this one, and you put everything in one carton. It's kind of a recipe for disaster. So study well, send less products, but put 1 SKU, 1 carton. So if I'm going to do marketing for my shirts, I better select 3 models, 3 variations, but I send 1 carton of 20 of the blue size M, 1 carton of 20 of the blue size S, 1 carton of 20 of the blue size XL. And then if I do the red, then I send 3 carton of red, 20, 20, 20, 20, and so on. So this is the best way not to confuse your partners. Number 7, the last and not the least point, is that before you get the returns, simulate, you know, it's like Kung Fu or fighting sports. Before you go into fighting, simulate the fight, simulate what could happen wrong and how you can react to it. What happens if the customs block my package and it's returned to Azerbaijan? What happens if my customer returns it? What happens if the truck delivery breaks it? What happens if the expiry date was too close and I shipped by sea and it took a month and now my product is expired? So all this, anticipate, study, be careful, notice every little detail, and by studying you can reduce the mistake and you can therefore reduce the returns. And when you cannot reduce, there's some return, you will always have returns. So don't dream that there is no return. So they will always have the returns. So even if you reduce them, you still need to have a strategy on how to deal with returns. And if you remember, consolidate the returns, give them as gifts, use them as discount, anything that we have seen earlier. So this would be the 7 golden rules, if we can call them like this, or 7 good practices. And I hope this all makes sense. I hope I didn't speak too fast. And in any case, we'll be happy with Eldar Bey, Ayhan Bey to take your questions in Azeri, in English, whatever is more comfortable for you. And please just hit me with questions or even challenges about this knowledge that we have shared with you. Eldar, am I still heard?
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Mohammed. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Mohammed. It was very interesting as usual. And if someone has questions, kimsə sualı varsa, nəsə aydın olmadı və ümumiyyətlə sualınız varsa, nəsə bundan prezentasiyada hansısa belə deyək, məsələ qaranlıq qaldı, aydın olmadı. Bunun suallarınızı verə bilərsiniz. Yenə də deyirəm, ingilis dilində çətinlik çəkirsə mən kömək edərəm.
Mr.
Yeah, I think it was at,
you know, I'm just teasing the usual, you know, how you call it, the movie, the usual suspects. Or Leila, I think Leila, probably she was in the training that we did physically in Baku, I think last year or 2 years before.
Mm-hmm.
Or you, Eldar, as well. Most welcome.
Yeah, for me it was quite clear. Onda heç kimin sualı yoxdursa.
Okay, I want to thank you, Mr. Mohammed. Thank you very much for what you are giving us. This is really interesting. So actually what we're doing now, we are trying to go global with our services. This is about the product, but this is all about the thing. I just found like IT company were doing web design and e-commerce and animation, SMM marketing, and we get to some clients that live abroad, some in Namibia, some in USA. They want to market us there. So I'm getting this information, and it really helped me to understand how to do it. Thank you very much for your helping.
Thank you, Leila. It's a pleasure to hear from you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Orhan, for the comment.
Oh my God. Yes, I couldn't hear because something is on my phone.
Yes, I was saying thank you, Leila, and it's always a pleasure to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I always just waiting for, when you have some trainings, always recommend my friends. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
We will see. And I have some friends who are doing, I have some friends who want to export. So I'm giving some as consulting who started some doing that. So I'm always just coming and saying about this platform. So thank you very much again. It was really nice to see how you do the label, logistic. We're trying to sell something now. One of my friends said he got with some stock. So no, right now during the session, somebody wants to sell a stock like of potatoes. He said that it's stocked here in Azerbaijan. We don't know what to do. Like, can you help while doing this training now? They send some information to me. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes,
thank you.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you, Leila. And I think you highlighted a very interesting point. And actually, I received many demands from companies because they have unsold stock because of COVID. So now whoever can, I mean, if you were not so interested in going through the hassle of logistics, now I think is the time to invest on logistics learning and labeling, because so many, like you said, so many people have stock to sell.
Yeah, and I have some friends all over the world now because I'm connecting with some business people, and so they're doing the same thing. So why not? Just okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I think I just there is an email, and so I can connect with you with the email also. Just I think I get an email from you. If not, maybe Eldar will give me in case.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Leila.
Yeah. Bye.
Onda heç kimin əlavə sualı yoxdursa, Muhammed Bey'e təşəkkür bildirək. Muhammed, so if you don't have questions, so thank you very much. It was very interesting and useful as usual.
Thank you. Teşekkür Bildre. Is this?
So, yeah. So next topic is
dropshipping e-commerce.
Yeah.
On Monday, right?
On Monday. Yes, on Monday.
Okay.
Onda yenə də hamınızı həftənin birinci günü gözləyəcəyik. Çox sağ olun. Həftənin birinci günü ümid edirəm görüşərik. Sağ olun. Thank you very much, Muhammed.
Thank you everyone. Rohana, Seving, Elmir, Aygun. Thank you everyone. Hope to see you again on Monday. Thank you.